Are you a new mom looking to become more organized? Or has showing up at 100% been one of the concerns for you as a mom? Today, you can order my Welcome to Motherhood Congratulations Celebratory Book Combo, which comes with a signed copy of my Welcome to Motherhood book, as well as my daily journal. This collection includes a free gift while supplies last. Celebrate yourself and the other mothers in your life.
0, 1. Let's get started.
Hey, you guys, and welcome finally to the first episode of the Mommy and Me podcast. I'm your host, Mimi, and I'm joined here today by my special guest, my co-host, who you guys will see sometimes. Come and say hi. My daughter, Gabrielle. So welcome to the Mommy and Me podcast. I'm so excited to be here at podcast with you guys today. It has truly been a long time coming, but we're here today. And today is a very, very special day to be launching this very first episode of the Mommy and Me podcast because it's my birthday. Yay! It is my birthday, and I decided what better day to go ahead and launch the Mommy and Me podcast than my very own birthday. So shout out to all the Sagittariuses, okay? Let's give it up for the Sagittarius. Yeah, all the Sagittarius, the special kind of people that's viewing right now. And I'm not going to pick sides with a November Sagittarius and a December Sagittarius. We all Sagittariuses, okay? We all Sagittate, okay? So I'm here with you guys with the first episode of the Mommy and Me podcast. And as I mentioned, today is my birthday, December 7th, and I am so excited to be with you guys today. If you haven't already purchased my book, the Welcome to Motherhood Congratulations book, make sure that you purchase that. All of the details for my book will be down below. The book does include a novel and also a journal, because as mothers, I know you guys know how important journaling is for the mental baby, the mental health. So during today's special edition of the Mommy and Me podcast, we're going to be doing a couple of different things. We're going to do a gift unboxing, which will be brought to you by one of my partners, Babala. Thank you, Babala, so much for gifting me and collabing with me for that section of today's podcast. So we will do a gift unboxing from Babala, so you guys make sure you stay tuned for that treat. So of course it is my birthday, so we're going to sing happy birthday, and we're going to have some ice cream treat. I love ice cream. Y'all like ice cream? Drop down. Ice cream too. You like ice cream, baby? What's your favorite flavor? Strawberry. What's my favorite flavor?
I know what your favorite flavor is.
What is it?
I think it is chocolate ice cream.
Chocolate? No, I think my favorite flavor of ice cream is vanilla. But it gotta have some caramel on it and some swirls. Today we're gonna have a little special vanilla ice cream and sing a happy birthday to mommy, okay? Is that cool with you?
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you, baby. Thank you.
So that's cool with me. That's cool with me.
That's cool with you?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. So, we're going to do that, but let's dive into the podcast, okay? So, today's episode, we're going to be talking about motherhood, of course, and every podcast we're going to be talking about motherhood. That is why this podcast has been brought to you guys. That is why I am filming it, because I want to create a safe place for mothers. Okay, a little bit about me. I am a first-time mom. Gabrielle is my first child, and she is my only child. She is 4 years old, and I had her when I was 31 years old. You guys do the math, okay? So motherhood was a new venture for me. I have always been a cousin, a play auntie, a godmommy, the go-to kid person, like the kid whisperer. Okay, kids love me and I love kids, and I'm going to talk about how that changed after having my own child. I'm going to talk to you guys about how that shockingly changed when I birthed my own child. How weird is that? Like, all my life, all the years before I had my own child, I was thrilled about children. Children loved me. And when I had my own child, I was through. I was done. I was kidded out. I did not have the momentum, the attitude. I just was not connected to the experience. And we're going to talk about that more in depth. But today's podcast I want to bring to you guys because I owe this to my subscribers, because they are probably wondering where I've been. And it took me a little second to decide when I was going to come out with the podcast and when I was going to actually discuss this particular topic. It is a very touchy topic. And if some of you guys are just tuning in for the first time on the podcast, I am a vlogger. I've been doing YouTube on and off forever. But in 2024, I told myself that I was going to take it very seriously and I was going to be more consistent. Well, my subscribers have probably noticed that I went MIA for a little bit. And it was the hardest thing for me to do, but it was something that I needed to do in order to get things in my life together. So let's get into the reason why I went MIA. So in about, when was this? I want to say it was like April, late April, early June. Your girl had to go to jail. Yes. And you heard me right. JAIL. Me. I did. No matter how much hard work I've done, how much I've contributed to the community, no matter the fancy degrees. Yeah. Your girl was in the cell. And I'm going to tell you guys why. And it all has to do with motherhood. So one day back in April, I went, and this is a very touchy subject for me. I went back, but I'm being transparent because there are other mothers out there that need to hear this, especially first-time moms. And just the world needs to be talking about this. This is something that I can't keep to myself. This is a journey that impacted my career. It impacted my reputation. It impacted my money. It impacted my job. It impacted everything, okay? So in July, so Gabrielle, actually, she goes to daycare. And daycare was something that I never really, I've planned to be a mom for a very long time. It's something that I always knew would come. I always thought that I would be married, like a lot of women do when they have children. They think that they're going to be married and they'll be with the child's parent forever. And everybody wants the happily ever after in the picket fence. And no matter how hard you work on yourself, sometimes it just doesn't happen like that, okay? And we're going to get into some of the reasons why those things don't happen and how that affects you in postpartum. We'll get into those things later on in the podcast, in another episode of the Mommy and Me podcast. So anyway, Gabrielle goes to daycare. And daycare was really something that I battled about because I always wanted to be wealthy and be able to stay at home to raise my child. When I conceived Gabrielle, instantaneously I knew that that option was out of the window. As my therapist would say then, I had to grieve the fact that I was not having the life of a mom that I thought that I would have. So I had to grieve that. But also in the process of me grieving, I couldn't stay in that place. I had to move forward. I had to come up with options and ways that I would be able to still live life as a single mom and raise my daughter effectively, okay? Because it's very important for me to raise a socially responsible child that's going to go out into this world and do wonderful things, despite the other portion not showing up. And you guys know what I mean. So Gabrielle had to go to daycare, and it was very hard for us in the beginning. I had separation anxiety. Gabrielle had separation anxiety. When she was first born, I worked from home fully. It was during COVID, so I was fully remote. So when I literally say Gabrielle was on my lap in her bassinet, she was next to me while I was working the entire time. People always talk about how articulate Gabrielle is to be 4 years old. And once I started to recognize how well she grasps things, I realized that her being at home with me while I work from home definitely played a part in her extensive vocabulary, her reasoning, and her ability to excel beyond her age range. Okay, so it was very beneficial, her being at home with me. But when I decided to move back to the East Coast, it was just me and Gabrielle, and I had to go back to work hybrid. If some of you guys don't know what hybrid means that you work part-time in the office and then you work part-time from home. So that meant that I would need to supplement my schedule for childcare. So Gabrielle had to go into childcare. Well, she had been in childcare for about 2 years, so I was just starting to ease up a little bit. She was at her school that I'm going to tell you guys about. She was there for 1 year, and she had been through the early preschool class, like infant, toddler, preschool, and now she was going to like Head Start, early preschool. So she was in the infant class, then she went to infant 1, and then she went to preschool 1. Okay, and preschool 1 and then preschool 2. So she was preparing to go to preschool 2, and then she would transition to kindergarten next year, which she still will do. So I had gotten comfortable with the school because every school has their red flags and every school has their issues. Yes. And that's why it's very important for you as a parent to have that working relationship with the school. Follow up and see how your child is performing in school. Ask the school how you can help in any type of way to bring your child up to the level of performance that they need to be in. Let your teachers know that you feel comfortable with them reprimanding your children to a certain extent. Have those relationships, because it really do take a village to raise a child. So for me, I thought that at Gabrielle's current school, I had developed a village. So I had become comfortable with Gabrielle being at that school. So fast forward, Gabrielle transitioned into preschool 2. She transferred into preschool 1, and that's the step before preschool 2 when they will go into kindergarten. So I noticed that Gabrielle was starting to show like some different behaviors. She was crying at drop off. Her conversation, because she's very well spoken, and her tone was very snappy. And I remember one day Gabrielle came home and I asked her something, and she responded to me with a lot of aggression. And I was wondering, I was like, I'm very patient with Gabrielle. I do reprimand my child because I do believe that you should raise a child up in the way in which they should go. And I do believe that if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. We do have to have a certain amount of discipline. Please don't get me wrong. I discipline my daughter. However, there's a certain way that I talk to her because she is my pretty little princess. Let's get that out there. Yes, she's mine. I birthed her. I carried her. I travailed for her. She's my child. She's my responsibility. So there's a way that I talk to her. I talk to her with love. I talk to her with respect. But I also talk to her so that she's disciplined. So when Gabrielle responded to me with this bass in her voice and it was an anger. It was a spirit. I instantly knew that that wasn't my child and that she had picked that up from somewhere, right? It was a learned behavior because we don't talk like that at home. And it was just a red flag for me. So I kept observing Gabrielle more and more. And at the time, I had resigned from my job. So I was spending more time home recovering from postpartum. So I was able to go up to Gabby's school and kind of, just watch for changes. So I went to the school. And I decided to stay. I believe it was like in October they had like a pumpkin painting thing. And so I stayed at the school because I wanted to know, one, why Gabrielle had been crying at drop off, and two, the dynamic was different. I didn't feel comfortable. My spirit was on edge. There was just a lot of red flags for me with this new teacher. She was very standoffish. She was rude. She didn't greet you in the morning. And for me, if I'm dropping my child off with you and I don't really know you, you know, you should be more welcoming. You should be more friendly. You should be trying to get to know these parents. My level of comfortability with this teacher was 0, and it made me very skeptical about her. And when Gabrielle brought that aggression spirit home, it also made me think twice. So it just showed me that I needed to pay more attention to the environment she was in at school. So I went to the school and I volunteered at the school. And also during drop off, I would stay a little bit longer just to console Gabrielle, just to watch the environment, to watch the way the teachers interacted with the children, watch the way the children interacted, watch to see who was going in and out of the school. Like, it was very important for me because I needed to know, did I need to pull Gabrielle? Was there something I was missing? You know, what was going on? Because my baby emotionally was going through a transition that I needed to understand. So I stayed at the school, and I stayed for a pumpkin painting, and the other parent that came had left. So it was just me. I was the only parent left, and honestly, it was about 20 kids in her classroom, and only 2 parents had came to volunteer that day for pumpkin painting. And, you know, parents have to work. Everybody don't have the time to come up to the school and volunteer and things like that. But it is so important to be involved in your child's education, their well-being, and everything like that. And I'm sure that there may have been times when other parents had came and volunteered and I wasn't there. So it wasn't nothing that I was taking personal. But I noticed that it was something that the teachers took personal. And I'll give you an example. So I was painting with Gabrielle, and the other dad, he was painting with his son. And one of the kids came over because they had separated the kids whose parents was there and the kids whose parents didn't come, which I don't think that was effective. I think they should have had everybody in the round circle. The kids whose parents was there should have sat next to their parents, and the parents that was there could have been a volunteer to help support the other children. That's my ideal of a healthy workspace. Now, let me explain that I do work in social services. So my background is in social work. You know, I know how to work in these delicate communities, right? Children and families, children below the poverty level, children from economically challenged backgrounds. Like, that's what I specialize in. So I'm always critically analyzing from that perspective. And I'm so grateful that I have that perspective raising a little girl, right? Or a little boy, but I have a girl. So I'm grateful that I have that perspective because I'm able to keep my third eye open. So anyway, I heard the teacher, the same teacher, the rude teacher, the one that doesn't greet in the morning, the one that's a little bit snappy, the one that Gabrielle came home with that spirit from, because I know it was 2 teachers. It was a teacher's aide, and then it was the lead teacher. And I've gotten to know their personalities to the point that when Gabrielle had displayed that energy, I knew which teacher it came. So I heard the teacher tell the kid, your mama didn't come today, so you need to stay over here. That's for the kids whose parents showed up. And I was like, did she just say that to that baby? You know, like, that is something that children really do battle with. That's not just a small thing to say. I remember when I was a child, how important it was for your parents to show up to events. And if your parents didn't show up, it made you feel empty. If you didn't understand, you know, and at their age, they don't understand. All they know is this friend's mommy is there and my mommy can't be there. Why can't my mommy be there? They don't understand bills. They don't understand responsibility. And they don't understand that mommy may not be able to come to all 10 events, but mommy is able to show up to some. So I overheard the teacher basically tell the kid, like, your mom didn't show up today, so you don't get to basically go over there. You got to go over here. And like I said, I know her personality, so she didn't say it with kindness. Like, babe, stay over here. You know, we're decorating over here. You know, let them, you know, do whatever. It shouldn't have been a separation in the first place. Nevertheless, she said that to the kid. It rubbed me the wrong way. Now, at that time, the other parent was still there, but when we got done painting, he left. I stayed because at that point, my antennas went off, and I was like, just stick around. So I stuck around and I went outside, and I noticed that one of the little girls that Gabby plays with, she likes her a lot. I love the little girl. And she got in trouble. She got in trouble because she was running around, so she got on punishment. So while all the other kids got to play, she had to sit on the bench and time out. Now, I know that that's fine. Discipline is fine, but it was the spirit, you guys. It was something inside of me. My mommy intuition kept telling me something is not right. Something is not right. I didn't like the way she disciplined her. I can't put my finger on the energy, but I know what the energy was. It was an abusive spirit, but I can't pinpoint in that moment because it was something about the way the little girl reacted that it was like she was tearing the kids down instead of building them up. So anyway, that was that. So again, I'm staying, I'm volunteering, I'm observing. A little boy came out. He was throwing a tantrum. I mean, he was throwing a tantrum. He was crawling on the floor like he was really throwing a tantrum. And so the kids were going to the playground. And while they were going to the playground, it was other class ages over there. So it was the infant toddlers, the preschool, all of them was going into the playground together because the two playgrounds connect. So all the kids were going into the playground, and she was bringing this little boy out, and he was throwing a nasty tantrum. And so for me, as a parent, again, as a person with a social service background, you're supposed to de-escalate. And if you can't de-escalate the child, you should call your boss, or you should also call your supporting colleagues to assist you with de-escalating the child. She didn't do that. I watched her grab the kid by his arm and drag him across the woodchucks. Now, at that point, that's when I was like, okay, enough is enough, because I've seen how she's behaved in the classroom. My babies come home with this evil spirit. I don't like it, and I'm gonna escalate this to the director, because somebody needs to handle this, because that's basically child abuse. Like, that's not my son, and Lord forbid that was Gabrielle, which is the reason I was in JAIL, which we'll get to soon. Lord forbid she grabbed Gabrielle by her arm and drug her through the woodchucks like she did this little boy. So it was other teachers out there. It was about 5 other teachers out there. They all just looked, and no one said anything. No one reported it. No one told her she shouldn't do that. Nothing. So for me, that's when my perspective of the school changed, because I said, if they're comfortable with allowing her to do that and they don't say anything, that's the school's culture. So I'm going to speak up. So I went into the office and I filed a complaint. The teacher wound up getting in trouble. Okay, you guys, so this section of the podcast is going to be brought to you by our good friends over at Babala. Babala did send us a gift, and all the specs for this gift is going to be included down below. So I know you guys heard the tea when it was going crazy all over TikTok about our high-end luxury brands getting that stuff made in China. Yes, girl, the tea is that all our luxury bags are fake. Now, I don't know. It don't matter to me, because all my luxury is fake anyway, baby. Fake it till you make it, because I don't got the budget to be buying $5,000 bags. But that's when my good friends at Babala come in. So Babala is an online retailer that sells nice handbags and luxury items for affordable prices. All of Babala's information will be included down below. If you want to shop and get something, make sure that you check them out and get some luxury for a very affordable price. And I tell you what I really love about Babala. The thing that I really love about Babala is their quality. Because when the girls on TikTok start running they mouth talking about the dupes, I was like, all of my dupes from Babala are baby 100% wonderful quality for wonderful prices. Now, I'm someone that you can trust when it comes to quality, because if it's not good quality and it's just shabby, I'm gonna tell you the truth. You win some, you lose some. But all of my bags that I've gotten in the past from Babala, remember to subscribe and check out some of my Babala bag reviews, and you'll see the one-in-one quality of bags that we get from Babala. So this time from Babala, I wanted to go with Chanel. Yeah, I wanted to go with Chanel. So let's unbox this beautiful bag that we got from Babala.
Ooh, it's a Chanel.
It's a
Chanel box. There's another box in the inside, right, Mom?
Yeah. You want to take it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
So Babala sent us a Chanel. Let's see what we get.
Can I open it up?
Okay, so Babala uses the magnetic box here. So we're gonna go ahead and open it up. Some ribbon, some gift ribbon, just in case you want to get this as a gift. Comes with some ribbon. It's so cute. Me and my girl Teresa, we was going back and forth trying to find me the perfect bag, and I was trying to get every bag but a classic, you guys. But the one that they wound up having for me was a classic bag, and I ain't mad at it because you can never go wrong with a Chanel classic. Let's open it up.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what it looks like.
You excited?
Yeah.
Woo!
Woo. I'm so excited to see what it looks like. I can't wait. Wow.
Like butter, baby. Like butter.
Listen,
10 out of 10.
What's
10
the
out of
number
10.
10?
Babala, I would always recommend. Me and my good friends over at Babala. Yeah.
You're so funny.
Will y'all see it?
I can't believe.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful, right, Mama?
Okay, you guys. I will include the name of this bag, but you know it's a classic. Classic.
Let's call it a bougie bag.
A classic sea bag, okay?
Let's call it a bougie bag.
And the pocket in the back has a button. Let's get into that. Oh, and the interior is red. What?
Can I see inside?
Look.
Ooh, red. So
whoa. So it has a back pocket. I love the chains, and that's particularly, oh, I didn't even know you can carry it like this. It's fancy. Okay. I didn't even realize you can carry it short like this, but I'm sure it's gonna have an extender chain in the inside. But I did go for the one that had the different colors. It has the silver and gold hardware. Yes, get into it. And so this is the inside. It's so soft, you guys, like butter. Okay, so it does have the extendable chain. Yes.
That's a beautiful Luxie. That's a beautiful Luxie purse.
Luxury.
Luxie. I like to say Luxie. That's what I say. Luxie.
Look at the chain hardware.
Ooh.
I love the braided detailing. That's another reason why I picked this one. It's red on the inside.
I love red. Red.
You like that red on the inside? In the pocket, and it comes with all the bells and whistles. Yeah. And so you guys, this is our new bag from Babala, and she is a doll. She is a doll, and she is a beautiful everyday bag. This is the perfect size. So this is absolutely beautiful. Again, thank you to my girl Teresa over at Babala. I love my bag. Let me tell you something. I haven't had a miss yet with Babala. So if y'all still looking for affordable luxury, high quality, what they call it, one-to-one mirror quality bags, definitely shop over with my girl Teresa at Babala. Okay, you guys, so I hope you guys really enjoyed that little unboxing from Babala. That bag was sharp, wasn't it? If you want all the specs and deets on that bag, go ahead and look down below in the description, and I'll leave all the deets for the bag down there. So let's get back into the podcast. Let's get back into our conversation, because baby, we got some talking to do. So anyway, like I said, I had saw the teacher take the little boy and drag him across the playground through the woodchucks. Nobody did anything. I went to the director and I escalated it. When I took it to the director, apparently the teacher was supposed to, I don't know if she got a write-up, if she got a warning, whatever, she got in trouble. But the thing that rubbed me the wrong way, the next week they sent out an email. And the email said, attention parents. Really, they wanted to say, attention Tamika. That's what they really wanted to say. Attention parents. Starting next week, we will be limiting drop-off to 10 minutes. What? Because in what policy does it say that you guys can limit the time that it takes for people to drop off their children? When does it say that? Especially if a child is having a hard time. It was a disconnect. So the email read, attention parents, starting next Monday, we will be limiting drop-off times to 10 minutes. We ask that you drop your children off and basically leave because we would like to continue with our bullshit. That's what they really wanted to. What they said was, we would like to get your children prepared for kindergarten and we want them to gain trust with their teachers. Now, here's the part that pissed me off, okay? And I'm going to be very frank about this. I teach Gabrielle about respecting her elders, okay? And I also teach Gabrielle about being able to trust the elders that are in her learning environment. Because in order for me to leave my child for 8 hours, and in order for my child to be away from me for 8 hours, there has to be some type of trust. And my trust is not in a man. My trust is in the fact that my child is covered and loved, and I know she's gonna be okay, because if she not, all hell gonna break loose. That's where my trust is, okay? So it angered me because I'm gonna get to the additional parts of the story, but I'm gonna tell you that I do that with my child, and I'm always reinforcing, Gabrielle, you're in a safe space, you're safe, don't be afraid, mommy is only a phone call away. These are the things that I instill in my child. So for what transpired to happen, it really bothered me. So after that, they sent out this email basically saying, parents, we need to limit drop-off time to 10 minutes. Tamika, that's what they really wanted to say. So I sent a nice, kind email because, yeah, don't play with me. I'm that mother, okay? And you guys can let me know in the comments down below, what would have been your reaction if you received this email. So like I mentioned to y'all, Gabrielle had been showing some behaviors that were not normal. Sent the email back, and the email that I sent back basically said, to whom it may concern, or attention teacher, or I directed it to that lead teacher because she was the one that sent it out. And I feel like she sent it out, it was retaliatory because I went to the office and she might have got in trouble. So I feel like she was trying to retaliate, but at the same time, for her to make that public service announcement in the chat that all the school sees, the director had to be okay with that. And that's the part that pisses me off, because you know that she sent that out. You should have nipped that in the bud, withdrew it, cleaned it up or something before you allow her to send that message out. No damage control happened, okay? But I'm going to damage control for my kids and the other children in my child's environment. So I sent an email out and I said, it is my understanding that if a child is having a hard time, that the parents and teachers should work together to try to make a trustworthy, healthy environment where the child feels safe. I don't think that it is a good idea, or it is plausible to drop your child off, especially when a child is experiencing behaviors that they've never experienced before. It will behoove you to get to the bottom of that issue while working in conjunction with the parent so that you can find a common solution to make the child feel safe as well as the parent feel welcomed. So I sent that, no reply. So instead of they really show how ghetto they really were, okay? So instead of the teacher, she didn't reply. The director replied, but she replied from the assistant director's email, which even shows more how tacky they are. She responded from the assistant director email and was like, we just want to try to prepare the kids for kindergarten. And I asked him, I said, is there a policy to support the decision that you guys are making? Because if it's not, I will continue to stay late with my child despite what your request is, especially until my child feels safe in the environment. So she basically messaged back and was like, it wasn't a policy. Okay, so then we don't have nothing else to talk about, because basically y'all trying to enforce something that y'all don't have in writing, that's not legal by state. Y'all cannot mandate this, and y'all cannot require that people just drop their kids off in an unsafe environment so y'all can get back to beating and abusing them. Not on my watch, okay? So that wound up happening. When it was time for Gabrielle to get dropped off again, I was still staying up there. But by this time in my mind, I had already made it up. This school is trash at this point, because before I had some hiccups with the school, but they weren't like crazy like this. Because when it comes to child abuse and neglect and stuff like that, now you're taking it to another level, okay? Because these type of things require the police, a legal team, DCYF, and all different other people to get involved and start investigating, right? So I did include, I said I have made you aware that there is a lot of hostility coming from the teachers in the classroom that's making the environment hostile. Girl, I went in. I really did, because I am that mom. I am that mom, because I am also that mom that's going to come up there and help. I'm a team player, but I'm also not going to pretend to be dumb, because what I'm going to tell you guys next caused me to lose my freedom. So all of that happened. Gabrielle went to class. I continued to stay up there with her. So one day I dropped Gabrielle off at school and I went home. When I dropped Gabrielle off at school that day, she had on her diamond hoop earrings. And in another episode, we're going to talk about adults that are jealous of children. Okay. But Gabrielle had on her diamond hoop heart earrings in her ear. And I remember that. I remember that from the morning because I dressed her. So I remember her putting on both earrings to go to school. Gabrielle had on both heart earrings. So I remember getting to the school to pick Gabrielle up. When I'm so grateful at how poised I am to talk about this, because this is crazy. So I got to the school to pick Gabrielle up from school, and I can't remember if I was feeling a little on edge that day or what I was feeling, but I got there to pick up Gabby from school. And I was looking for them, and they weren't in the classroom. So usually when they're not in the classroom, that means they're on the playground. So I go to Gabrielle's cubby, no teachers in the classroom or nothing. So I know that they're outside playing at recess. So I go into Gabrielle's cubby and I get her stuff, like her coat and everything, so I can take it to the yard, get her dressed, and we can leave out the back gate. So I grabbed Gabrielle's stuff, and her little diamond earring was in the cubby, her little heart diamond earring. So I just grabbed it, and I'm thinking, well, Gabrielle must have had a rough play day today and she lost one of her earrings, or, you know, one of her earrings fell out and they put it away. Fine. I'm not thinking a biggie of it. So I walk out the classroom, and all of Gabby and her friends are playing, and they all run up to me, but Gabrielle runs up to me, and the first thing she says is, "Mommy, I swallowed my earring today at school." Now, as a mom, my heart dropped, because I'm thinking, there's no way she swallowed her earring at school. I check the chat all the time. Nobody called me. There's absolutely no way Gabrielle could have swallowed the earring at school, and nobody called me. But again, as I mentioned before, Gabrielle is very articulate. She's very intelligent. And my baby, she's spot on. She could tell you something. And that's another reason why I'm comfortable with her being in daycare, because she will come back and tell me everything that happened at the daycare. Okay. Yeah. So I said, "Gabrielle, are you sure you swallowed your earring?" Because I know another thing that Gabrielle does is her and her friends, they tell stories about their boo-boos. I don't know if your children do that, but they like, "Girl, they say, I got a boo-boo over the weekend. Look at my boo-boo. I got a big boo-boo. I got a little boo-boo. Or mommy gave me a doggy band-aid." Like, they talk about their boo-boos. That's just something that they chat about. That's what the kids do. So I'm thinking, who done told Gabby about they swallowed the earring over a weekend? Now my baby telling me this horrific story. So I said, Gabrielle, because then it dawned on me that I did only pick up one earring from our cubby. So I said, Gabrielle, did you swallow your earring for real today? Gabrielle said, yes, mommy. I swallowed my earring today at school. And I tried to tell Miss Neek. And when I told Miss Neek, she told me to go lay back down. Fire started coming from my ear. Okay. So when I went to approach the other teacher, because at this time the lead teacher was no longer at the school. She leaves at about like 3:30 or something like that. And I picked Gabrielle up at 5:30. So she was gone, but her teacher's aide that I told you about in the beginning was still there. So I walked up to the teacher's aide and I'm like, so what am I hearing? Because now I'm angry. I am angry. So I'm not friendly, but I like this teacher. So I'm not really lashing at her because she has never really given me a problem. So Gabby had already told me which teacher it was that told her to lay back down. So I went to the assistant teacher to find out what she know, because you're also in the classroom, which also means you have a certain amount of responsibility too. And if she didn't reach out to me, you should have told her that that was wrong and went to your director and told her that you didn't feel uncomfortable. But the fact that you didn't open your mouth at all either lets me know that you're not a leader and that this work environment is not for you either. So I asked her, I said, what is, I went to her and I said, hey, what's going on? What's this story about Gabrielle telling me she swallowed the earring today? I didn't get a call. Nobody messaged me in the chat, nothing. What's going on? Did Gabrielle swallow an earring today? And she's like, well, I was on lunch, but when I got back, the teacher did tell me, I'm just not going to keep repeating her name, but the teacher did tell me that she wasn't sure if Gabby swallowed the earring or not. She couldn't remember if Gabby wore both earrings today at school. Fire coming from my ear. What time did this happen? So apparently this transpired at about 9-10 o'clock in the morning. So my baby's been walking around with an earring in her stomach since 9 o'clock this morning, and no one has reached out to me. Even if you guys weren't sure, you should have called me. That should have been the first thing that you did, to ask me, so that we could work together and I could decide if she's going to stay at school or if I want to take her to the doctor to find out if she really swallowed the earring. So I'm starting to panic, because now I know that it's a possibility that my baby, the lining in my baby's stomach can be torn. My baby can choke. Anything could be going on. I'm always telling Gabrielle to trust her, the adults in her environment, that if something goes wrong, to tell her teacher. And my baby did everything that I told her to do. It broke my heart. So the first thing that I did was, now I picked my baby up at 5. No one still called me. I took my baby directly to the emergency room, and I'm going to include here what we found on the x-ray. So when I got the x-ray back from the hospital, sure enough, what did we find? We found Gabrielle's heart earring in her stomach on the x-ray. For 3 to 4 nights, okay, let me go back. On the x-ray. So the next morning, I waited to see if the school was going to call me. I had went to the hospital. We saw it on the x-ray. Sure enough, she swallowed it. The teacher was trying to say that she wasn't sure if Gabrielle swallowed it or not, but they didn't call me. They didn't notify me. Gabrielle, my 4-year-old, at the time 3-year-old, was the one that told me she swallowed this earring. They didn't think I was going to take my baby to that emergency room right away. Okay. So I took my baby instantaneously, because what's not going to happen, I'm not going to wake up in the middle of the night and my baby's choking. My baby's intestines or esophagus is not about to be cut by no earring that's just nesting in her stomach. No, I believe my child. I'm going to believe my baby. I don't care how old she is. Even if we went there and it was nothing, at least we went. So the next day, I had to collect myself because I was so enraged. I couldn't get up and go directly to the school because I wanted to wait and see if they was going to call me. 10 o'clock came, and we had been at the hospital all night too. Let me mention that. So I was tired, and I was like, you know, I need to figure out how I'm going to approach this, because now I'm fuming, like fuming. Yeah, I'm fuming. Because there had been so many red flags and run-ins that at this point I was flabbergasted. Like, I was angry. Like, when I say angry, I was rageful. I was so angry. And I remember just looking at my baby, and I just got scared. I was scared. Okay, because it was there, and the doctor told me basically there was nothing that they could do. Luckily, it passed her esophagus. They could see it on the x-ray, and she will poop it out. So I was like, okay, you know, this is my first child, so I don't know what's the effect of swallowing the earring. All I know is swallowing a foreign object is dangerous for a child. That's all I know. So I go home the next morning. They tell me she got to poop it out, keep an eye on her stool. That's what I do. 10 o'clock come, I'm finally like, okay, I got the energy, let's go. The school still did not call me. So I called the police, because I knew what I was capable of in that moment. I called the police, and I asked them, I said, can you guys please escort me to my daughter's school? I said, something happened with my daughter yesterday, and the school didn't communicate it with me. My daughter had to be rushed to the hospital last night. My daughter swallowed the earring. I have the proof that she swallowed the earring. I'm angry. It's not going to turn out nice. I've witnessed this teacher abuse children. The police need to be involved, and you guys need to meet me at the school. So I got to the school, and the police wasn't there yet. I went inside the school into the director's office. The police officer called me on my phone. I told the director to wait. I went outside and talked to the police officer. He advised me that he would not be able to escort me into the school. A young Spanish police officer. He probably was in his mid-40s. Do I think race had something to do with it? I do. Do I think it should have been handled another way? I do. Children are being abused in this school. Neglect is going on in this school. He very much so should have escorted me into that school. He did not. But I remember telling him, I told him, you'll be back. You'll be back. Because at this point, I'm calling for help, and I'm asking for help, and nobody wants to help me. I know what I'm capable of when it comes to my child. You guys could have, I don't even want to say the word next to my child, but my child could have been severely hurt. Somebody should have escorted me into that school. So I went into the school. I went right into the director's office. Gabrielle was with me. What happened next, even to this day, makes me want vengeance. But I do understand that people will reap what they sow, and I'm done with the situation. I'm handling it legally, and I will handle it every corner of legally. And I still have my baby, and that's the most important thing for me. That's the most important thing for me. That's the most important thing for me. So I went into the director's office, and I asked her, I said, she said to me, she said, good morning. Is Gabrielle going to go to class this morning? I said, go to class? Gabrielle will never be returning to this school. Are you aware of what transpired yesterday with Gabrielle inside her classroom? Actually, her teacher just left out of here, and she told me that Gabrielle lost her earring beneath her cot yesterday during nap time. She lied. Right off the rip, she lied. I said, she told you what? She repeated the lie again. I pulled the picture of the x-ray out from the hospital, and I said, Gabrielle did not lose an earring yesterday. And I said, in fact, if that was the case, and she came and told you that, how come nobody has called me or no one has said anything to me? And it's 10, 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and I still haven't heard from you guys. And they know that I was inquiring if Gabrielle swallowed that earring or not. No, she didn't swallow it. It fell beneath the cot. You're lying. And she did swallow the earring because I have the x-ray right here. And what is this on the x-ray, ma'am? Right here. What is that? That's the earring that my daughter swallowed. So you're lying. So then she came back and she was like, well, Miss Neek did tell me that she wasn't, Gabrielle swallowed the. I said, wait a minute. Wait, what? Did she? And this one I got the bass in my, because she was lying to my face. And the assistant director was sitting over there, a white woman. And let me mention, the director is black. Okay. Another reason why I was truly heartbroken and pissed. So the other director, Caucasian woman, she was sitting over there. She said, she was just listening because all of this had to be new to her. I had never dealt with her in the past. I had seen her coming and going, but I had never dealt with her in the past. But remember when I told you somebody replied to that chat, the director replied from the assistant director's account? That was the only interaction we had ever had. And it wasn't really her. It was the director replying from her account. So anyway, she just sitting over there looking crazy. So when I got bass in my voice, I said, that is not what you just said. Did she or did she not tell you that Gabrielle swallowed the earring? So I looked over at the assistant director and she was shaking her head because she knew that the director had just told a bold-faced lie. So I said, y'all need to get the state on the phone right now, and I'm not leaving until the state is on the phone. So she tells me, oh, I called the state. So if you called, why did you call the state already if you didn't think she swallowed the earring? So you just said in my face and lied because you already called the state. So you already started trying to prepare yourself for what you knew was going to happen, but y'all still never called me. So I'm fuming. And I'm like, yeah, you need to get the state back on the phone. Now, at this time, I want to see the teacher because all night I had tossed and turned trying to figure out in my mind, this teacher, she's been picking with me. She's been picking with me. And now she's picking with my child because now you're mad because I saw you drag this kid. I let them know that your attitude is not welcoming. So now you're mad at me. You really trying to retaliate. And I felt like her allowing my baby to swallow that earring was retaliation, which is why I was fuming. So I tell them, you know, y'all need to get the state on the phone because she shouldn't even be in this school. First of all, that's negligence. She did not report it. And by law, if you guys don't know about daycare yet and you're a new mom, by law, if your child gets hurt at school, they are supposed to do an incident report and they are supposed to contact you, especially if there's a tear in skin, any blood, any bruising or anything like that. They're supposed to contact you immediately. 24 hours had passed and no one contacted me. So I went to the classroom because I just needed to see the teacher because I'm like, what on God's green earth will allow her to go home and move on with her life and know that my child could be in danger? So I went to the classroom and I asked the teacher, and y'all, I'm not even going to lie. I was ready to whoop her ass. Yeah, I was. I really was. I really was. I was so angry and heartbroken. And the thing that made me the angriest was all of the lies that they were telling. All of the lies that they were telling, which let me know that they not new to this. They've been lying and pushing stuff under the rug. And that's why I want to let you guys know how important it is for you to advocate for your kids, for you to listen to your kids, for you to be involved when your kids start showing different behaviors, to be involved in their school environment and to watch the people that surrounding them, even their teachers. So I went into the classroom and I said, you know, can I talk to you? She was bringing the kids in. It was 2 of them. She was bringing the kids in. And I can't remember if I was going to handle that right then and there. And I saw the kids and I was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I want to pull her out of the classroom so we could talk because I need to confront her because I need to know what's the problem? Like, how could you ever? And you got a small child that's in the classroom next door. So she tells me, yeah, let me get somebody to cover my class. I said, you didn't ask for nobody because at this time now you trying to buy time and you trying to act like you a professional bitch. Listen, don't play with me about my child because that same energy that you saying you need somebody to find your class, hold your class, you should have asked for somebody to hold your class when my baby was choking on that earring and you wasn't sure to call me or to go tell your boss, but you didn't need nobody to cover your class then. So that's what I told her. I said, listen, you didn't need nobody to cover your class when my baby swallowed that earring yesterday. Yo, Beck, she looked at me with this disgusting look. Your daughter did not swallow an earring. She did not swallow it. So she was trying to make it seem like this teacher wanted to try to make it seem like I was this delusional parent that just can't. And that's what broke my heart, because I am such a community person. I am such a community liaison. Like, I am that girl. I am that mom. I am that community person that get down and get her hands dirty to help and to serve. That's why my heart was broken. My heart was broken with this teacher, because it was like, what? You know, I had to see her face, because I just kept thinking about it all night long. I just kept thinking about it. And I was scared with my baby in the bed with this earring. Like, I was terrified. I'm looking up stuff, forums and stuff. Like, I was just freaking out. And so I asked her if she was like, your daughter didn't swallow an earring. Basically, no, she didn't say it like that. She was like, she did not swallow an earring. Like, she was possessed. Okay. Remember the way I told y'all Gabrielle had yelled that day when she came home. I knew where that spirit came from, and I was head on. Now, let me say a little backstory about the teacher. I kind of watched her, and her disposition reminds me of someone that's being abused at home. So I don't know if she was in some type of abusive relationship or whatever, and that was causing her to show up at school impartial. But I empathized for her, and I'm going to tell you, even to the end of this, I empathized with her. But she didn't empathize with me. But let's keep going. So anyway, so she didn't come out the classroom. The director and assistant director came, and they was like, you know, we're going to have to ask you to come out of the classroom. And I was like, okay, you know, saved by the bell. That's okay. Because I really didn't want to get ugly in front of those kids anyway. But I want her to know that, yes, my baby did swallow it, and I got the picture right here. So you doing all this lying, baby, just let it go. So I went back into the office, and I told her, I said, let me tell you something. I'm not leaving this school. And I always think about John Q. When his son needed that heart. That's how I felt that day. I'm not leaving this school until she's escorted out of here, because she should not be in that classroom with children. She's abusing children. She's neglecting children. She failed to do her job. By law, she should not be in there. So they called the state, and the state said, escort her out of the school. So at that point, I kid y'all not, at that point, because I was going to take matters into my own hands, because I've been into issues with the government, with the state, with the police, where they will cash you to the side. And I want to just shout this video out. And Kanika Jenkins' mother comes to my mind, and so many other mothers, Tina McMillan, what is her name? Romika Meek's mother. So many mothers come to my mind when I think about how you have to deal with the powers that be to get things done, and they can ignore you and cast you to the side or victimize the victim. I heard somebody say the other day, they said, what I learned in social work from someone that was training me is that you're never supposed to victimize the victim. And that sung to my spirit, because that is my ultimate belief. You're never supposed to take someone that's the victim that has been hurt and turn them into a victim again by casting blame on them. That's just like saying somebody that got abused deserves to be abused, or, you know, you're never supposed to victimize the victim. And so I was so upset, because I know how it is dealing with legal and dealing with DCYF and dealing with these people. I work in this field. I've seen them fail our community over and over again. So I was prepared to take matters into my own hand. I didn't want to wait for their 3-year-long investigation of bullshit that they do. So when the director came back, and she said, you know what? The state said that she has to go home, and she's on temporary suspension pending an investigation. I'm going to escort her out the school. The director was still on my bad side, granted, because she had lied. So I was still pissed with her. But when she said what the state said, and she was like, I'm going to have to excuse myself. You could stay here with the assistant director. I'm going to go and walk her out of the school, because they said I need to escort her out of here. I was fulfilled. That's my God's honest truth. I was fulfilled. I was relieved. I was proud. I was grateful that for once in my life, the process, I didn't have to jump through loops to get what was supposed to be done the right way. So the director wanted to keep talking to me, and she's like, oh, we'll pay Gabrielle's medical bills and blah, blah, blah. So I looked over at her and I'm like, she know they're wrong, and she's trying to, now she wants to talk about money. And my thing is, you want to talk about money, let me tell you something, you don't know who you dealing with, because you talking about a little bit of change to pay a doctor bill, baby. Do you know I can have y'all upside down in a knot wringing out y'all pockets? No, baby, you're not going to take the easy way out. So I said, let me tell you something. I'm here to talk about what happened to my child and get to the facts. My attorney will talk to you about money. Okay? And so I said that, and her eyes got big. And I said, if you don't have anything else to say to me, I'm done. By this time, they had told me that they had escorted her off the property already. The state had told me that she told them she had to go. Do you know, I grabbed Gabrielle to walk out the school, and this woman was walking out the door in front of me. Now, I told y'all, I held it together. I was grateful. I was thankful. I was glad that I did not have to take matters into my own hands, because I know the pain and the anger that I felt about my baby. One thing about my baby, I'm crazy about my baby. People need to understand, you don't play with people's kids. You do not play with people's children, because people will lose it about their kids. We carry these kids for 9 months. You don't know the hurdles that we go through trying to get these kids into this world. You don't know the pain that we go through at night when we have to separate from our children and leave them with people that we don't know our full life. And the things that we have to teach our children when our children cry and they don't want to separate from us. And they have every rightful reason, for this very reason, why they don't want to separate from us. Because of things just like this. But we have to convince them and fool ourselves to do all of this work. And let's not get into the fact that us that do it singly have to do it alone, while these dogs are out here multiplying again. And we have to carry that weight. So she didn't have a clue of the battles that I was fighting internally. So she was walking out in front of me, and she held the door, and she said something. She was trying to be kind. And I felt like she was mocking me, because now it's like, oh, you so angry, and I'm just going to be calm. I'm gonna kill you with kindness. That's what she was giving. Like, yeah, I got to go home, put in an investigation because of you, but I'm still going to be kind and open up this door for you, crazy lady. Like, that's what she was giving me. Like, it was definitely giving. If you was going to hold the door, you should have held it. You shouldn't have said nothing. In fact, you shouldn't even still been in the school. In fact, the school said they escorted you out. So what are you doing back in the building? So in my mind, I'm thinking, Lord, this is a setup, because why is she right in front of me, and I was gonna dog walk her and I didn't? Why did she wind up right in front of me, landed right in front of me? She been abusing them kids, and it must been meant for me to lay hands on her. So I get outside the school. Sure enough, both of us standing right there together. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. And so I asked her, I said, let me ask you a question. I said, you was really just going to let my baby, I said, you're a mother. And you were really, because I could not believe it. And at this point, again, I had digressed. I was not going to fight. I had digressed. I just needed to talk to her. I just needed to hear what she had to say. This was new for me, to just really want to hear what she had to say. I had never been in this place of flabbergasted. Like I was, my brain could not wrap around it. I was so hurt that I just needed, you ever just needed closure? You just ever needed to, I think it's almost like when you go to court, when something happened and you go to court and you just need answers. You just need to see the person that hurt the other person. You have to just feel it. You have to understand. And that's how I felt. I'm like, I just got to wrap my brain around it. I just need to see her face. This is the woman that would do that to my child. So I asked her, I said, you have a daughter yourself that's in the other classroom, and you was just going to let Gabby swallow the earring, Miss Neek? Like, why you didn't call me? You know, like, what's up? You know, and in that moment, I still empathize for her because I'm thinking she going through something. She got to be going through something, and she not coming to this school showing up her full self. But it was her reaction to me that made me react, you know. And granted, I could have been a bigger person. Like I said, I got a social service background. I felt like something was wrong. But when it came to my child, it's not an ounce of empathy. I just lose everything. So she was like, I'm not about to do this with you. I'm not about to do this with you. And she zooms into the school. She swings the door open. So I go behind her. She swings the door open. Me and Gabby are behind the door. And she swings the door open to call the director. And she started screaming for the director. And next thing you know, when she swung that door and I pivoted in that door, it was all she wrote. And I just started whooping her up. And I can remember in that moment, I was so hurt because I did not want to fight. I did not want to fight. And I remember she's smaller than me. And I remember thinking, Tamika, breathe. It's okay. Do not hurt her. Don't hurt her. Just let her know that it's not okay. And I remember as I was fighting her, I remember she got big hands. And she's small, but she got big hands. And she reached around to swing to hit me. And she hit me. And I said, oh, she really want them hands. You know, because she was really fighting back. She was really like, you know, trying to give it her all. Where I'm on the other end trying to be compassionate. Like, don't even do it because you don't want to hurt this girl. And all I remember is just whooping her up, and she fell down, and I'm still just going, and all the teachers came out and they was grabbing me, you know, breaking it up. And I just remember standing up saying, that's my baby, that's my child, just lost it. I lost it. And I'm grateful for self-control, because the way that I lost it, it could have got worse. Long story short, all the teachers came out. They love my daughter. They love her. They love me. They've been good to me since this far. So we went outside. The same officer wound up coming back. And I was sitting down, and the teacher was rubbing my back. One of the teachers, Gabrielle, old teachers, was rubbing my back, and the other one was standing next to me. They was rubbing my hand. They was just telling me to calm down. They understand, and I was heartbroken. I was embarrassed, not because of her. I was embarrassed because I'm committed to being a good parent. I'm committed to this world that I live in. I'm committed to serving at a point where children mean everything to me. So I was broken. I was embarrassed. I was shamed. And so everybody was just consoling me, like, you didn't do anything wrong. I said, I saw her abusing kids. Then she did this to my baby. I said, she just has no regard, And sure enough, the police came, and he asked me, he said, so what happened? I said, whatever she say I did. I was honest. And in that moment, I didn't realize that I should not have incriminated myself. Because it was definitely more to the story that needed to be heard by the judge. But like I said, I have been disappointed by the legal system and the government system, all of higher education, all of these different systems that fail people all the time, that I just said, whatever it is for my child, I did it. Whatever she say, I did it. So sure enough, they came back out. They put me in handcuffs, put me in a police car, and told me I was under arrest and I had to go. And so when I'm sitting in the back of the police car, I'm just dreading it, because I'm thinking about racial profiling, if I'm going to be safe, if I'm going to end up like Sandra Bland, if I'm going to end up like any other person, that this small thing is going to escalate into, it was never small really, but this thing is going to escalate into something that's, unsafe. And so the police officer came to the back of the car, and I said, I told you would be back again. And he said, I hate to have to do this. And I said, I don't want your apologies, and I don't want your empathy. I said, are you a parent? He said, no. I said, well, that's why you got me sitting in the back of this car. I said, until you become a parent, You will never understand. And on the day that you become a father, you will understand and you will remember me. And they took me to the station, and I had to go into a cell. It was nasty. I was sitting in the cell. Gabrielle's babysitter had to pick her up. I was bawling. I was heartbroken. DCYF called me. Everybody called me, and they were empathetic for me. They did not blame me. They did not shame me. They uplifted me. And I felt bad. I felt bad. In hindsight, I shouldn't have felt bad. But I also wish that it didn't have to happen like that. Because I am a parent that you can work with. I am a parent, and maybe she thought she couldn't call me. Maybe she felt like if I call this woman, she already been up here. If I call this woman, I'm not going to be able to talk to her. Whatever the case may be, she might have got really scared. Whatever the case may be, she had the opportunity to smooth it out and she didn't. And that's what broke my heart. So I only had to stay in there for about maybe like 5 hours. Gabrielle was with the babysitter. And then after that, I wound up having to go to court back and forth. She did, ultimately go ahead and press charges against me, which I feel like just showed me that her level of empathy was not where my level of empathy for her was. Because if I was her, she should have just dropped the charges, because she knew she was wrong. She knew she drugged that kid across the woodchuck. She knew she had been evil and belligerent for whatever was going on in her home. She knew that she lied about what happened to my baby. She knew all of that, but she wanted to keep pushing and keep pushing. So it made I had to miss a lot of days out of work. I was going to court over and over again, and my attorney told me, she said, I can see how this is wearing and tearing on you, and I apologize. And her attorney, when I wind up producing some information and requesting some information from the state, her attorney ultimately dropped the case and another attorney picked up. But I don't feel like my attorney pushed hard enough for me, so ultimately I wind up receiving a misdemeanor for assault and battery. I think that's what it was. And I had to, so basically the terms was that I couldn't get in trouble for 6 months. That was the thing. And I was so embarrassed. I felt so low. And when the judge asked me, how do I plead? And I'm like, I plead guilty. And he was like, do you understand? Do you fully plead guilty? I said, not fully, Your Honor, but I plead guilty, because I wanted my story. My story needed to be told. And the next step would have been for me to go on trial, which means I would have had to drag this out to go on trial for months and months and months and continue to miss work and miss money. And it was already affecting my well-being. And so I just took the plea. I just said, I plead guilty. And ultimately, I did put my hands on her, which, my question to you on today's episode of the Mommy and Me podcast, if you were to witness an adult abusing a child, what would be your reaction? I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Mommy and Me podcast. We're going to talk about so many more topics, so many more complex things, and so many more things and challenges that we face as mothers and as a world as a whole, and how important it is for us to be involved and active with each other in a strong community for our children and their peers. One of the things that I wished is, I know that there were other parents that have experienced things with the school, even the kid that got drugged. I just wish that more parents will advocate for their children, because ultimately it fell back on me, someone that is an advocate in my daily life, and I became that voice. And I felt like instead of being in prison, I should have been recognized, and the school should have been under scrutiny. The teacher ultimately was fired. So she did lose her license and she was fired. So I'm grateful for that. The director An investigation is still currently going on. I do believe that the director should lose her job. I really do. And I also believe that the assistant teacher that was in the classroom should also lose her job. I'll keep you guys updated and posted about how that goes. But yes, I'm still dealing with it emotionally. Gabrielle, I'm still working with her emotionally. I did pull her out the school. She does go to a new school, so we did have to start the whole process of weaning all over again, and that has truly been a challenge. But yeah, so that's where I've been, and that's what's been happening, and that's why I had to pull back and shift and refocus. But I'm back, and we're back with the Mommy and Me podcast, and we cannot get out of here without singing happy birthday to my favorite girl. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to Mommy. Happy birthday, dear Mommy. Happy birthday to me. Now I'm gonna make a big wish.
Can me and my baby little kiddo out with you? Or you wanna like, what do you want? You actually want more makeup? Let's read to my mom. This is what you want. Hey, why are you not holding the candles? You're right there.
Okay, I'm ready.